Hey everyone, how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in. In today's video, we're getting a 10,000 pound rated two-post lift installed at the new shop. In case you missed the last episode of the shop build, I put a link to it down in the description below. I had a polyaspartic coating put down on the concrete floors and it turned out really nice. A lot of stuff has been happening since then. A lot of progress has been made, but it's been slow and steady progress, which is why I didn't bother filming any videos. But actually, I think the internet crew is out here working on doing all of those connections, so the shop will hopefully soon have Wi-Fi. The electric is done, the heat and air units are in, so it's really coming together. This is actually going to be the first of two lifts going in the shop. The other one's going to be a 4-post lift. I'll talk about that later in the video. But of course, now it's starting to rain, so let's head inside and check out what's going on. Ever since I got my other shop up and running, I've had a Benpack Grand Prix Series lift. They offer 3 different heights of those. I have the middle height, and they're really nice because they're perfectly suited for low ceiling garages and more narrow spaces, but they still offer really good functionality. However, with this new shop, it's 30 by 70 with 14-foot walls, so we have a lot more room to work with. So this 2-post lift is their XPR-10AXLS. Really tall, like 75-inch lift height. Depending on what I'm working on, I should be able to stand up underneath it, which is gonna be awesome. The 4-post lift I have on order is a Benpack HD-9XL. It's an extended length model, and just because of its size, it made the most sense to put it on this side of the shop over where the 48 Ford is sitting right now. The 2-post is gonna go on the right side of the shop in this corner over by that lubester, so there's plenty of room to pull things in. All right, everyone, I'd like to introduce you to Joe and Joe. They're from Automotive Equipment Installation. They did the install of my Grand Prix lift a while back and are back to get all of this in. It's gonna be a lot of fun and can't wait to see it go in. If you guys are in the Carolina area and need some excellent lift install service, these guys are awesome. Check them out at wegotlifts.com.
All the way, bro. All the way! All the way, right?
This thing is massive. Just a few more adjustments and we can try this thing out. Just as we were finishing everything up yesterday and getting ready to test the lift out, it started raining like crazy. It was deafening in here, so I had to wait till today to get all the rest of these clips finished. The really cool thing about this lift and what sets it apart from Binpack's standard 10,000 pound lift is an extra 6 inches of lift height, which is really, really nice if you're on the taller side. It's actually 75 inches of lift height, which I'll show you next. We're gonna get the car up in the air, and I'm also gonna show you all of the cool features with this thing. First, let me show you the best thing about this lift. I can stand underneath it with plenty of room to spare. Now I'm 5'10". If I was gonna be working on the underside of this Mercury, I would actually bring the lift down a little bit to get it at a more ideal height for me, but it just goes to show you how much more versatile these lifts are with the extra 6 inches of lift height. If you're around 6 feet or even over 6 feet, you can still be super comfortable working underneath here. Like I was saying earlier, the old shop has a Binpack Grand Prix series lift, the middle tier out of the 3 they offer. Those lifts are phenomenal if you want to put a lift in an area where you have, kind of space restrictions or like a smaller garage or whatever. They're an awesome lift for what they're designed for. In fact, the S10 that I've been building, I basically built 95% of that truck while it was on that lift, from taking the cab off the frame, the bed off the frame, to swapping in the 350, everything. That lift made it so much easier. But I still can't stand underneath it like I can this one. 95% of the work I did underneath, I did sitting on a stool, which was perfectly fine, but having all of this extra space is gonna be amazing. It's gonna open up so many more opportunities. Another really cool feature about this lift is the asymmetric arm design. It gives you so much more lift adjustability and flexibility with lifting up all sorts of different vehicles, as long as you're keeping it under the 10,000 pound limit. For example, I had the Mercury sitting a little bit further back, like away from the lift's center line, so you can get a better idea of what I'm talking about. In this case, it makes it a lot easier to open up the front doors without hitting the lift. The lift posts are tilted away from each other a bit, and that also helps with door clearance. Here's the power unit for the lift. That button right there raises it. There's a lever up top to disengage the locks, and if you wanted to lower it, you pull that first and then push that lever to release the pressure and lower the lift down. This tank right here is the reservoir for the hydraulic fluid. The lift comes with these spacers, which make raising trucks and SUVs a little bit easier. But one thing that's really cool are the pads themselves. There's a screw type mechanism built into the body to where you can twist the pad left and right and finely tune height adjustment, so you can get a vehicle perfectly level or just get it a little bit higher if needed. It's really, really cool. You have these flat spots machined into the sides of the pads, and they pretty much sit down flat up against this little welded piece right there, which locks it in place and allows you to turn it back and forth. I really like that. There's brackets mounted to the side posts that allow for easy storage of various spacers. Depending on if your space allows for it, this lift can be adjusted between two different widths. I have it set to the widest width because I had about 15 feet to work with, and it was more than enough to still have plenty of walking room on the left side. And if I need to service the mini split, there's still plenty of room to do that as well. There's rubber pads on the side posts to help guard your doors from damage. One more cool feature I want to share with you all is the safety bar that's mounted to the top cross member. If you're working with a taller vehicle and you lift it to the point where it touches that bar, it'll immediately shut the motor off and freeze the lift so you don't accidentally smack the top of the crossbar and dent a roof or even possibly damage the lift. That's pretty much it for the lift. Everything else in the shop is pretty self-explanatory. You guys have probably already noticed a lot of the stuff that has gone in here since the last episode, but just to cover some of the basics, I ended up having 3 2.5-ton mini split systems installed, which should keep this place very comfortable all year round. Of course, it's going to make the biggest difference once the installation is done, hopefully in the next couple of weeks or so. I also plan on putting in air piping all throughout the inside. The 4-post lift is going to require, I think, like 30 pounds of air pressure or so to release the locks, but my compressor is outside over on the far end where that Studebaker is sitting underneath that lean-to, so I'm going to bring the air in, pipe it in throughout. I'm not sure how everything's going to be routed yet, but I want to end up taking the air into the old shop to some extent as well. I may film some content on that. We'll see how it goes. As far as the electrical side of things, I don't plan on doing any kind of welding or fabrication work in here because as durable as these floors are, welding slag and all that hot metal, if it gets on the floor, it can still tear it up. And I wanted this area to be cleaner, more for finishing type work and easier project content, not a full-blown restoration. Unless we're in the finishing stages, then we'll do it in here, but I definitely want to keep this area nice and clean, so I have the typical array of plugs located all around. I'm probably going to put my office area somewhere over in that vicinity. Up top, I ended up having 10 UFO-style LED high bay lights put in, which are very, very bright. It's very nice in here, and it'll be even nicer when I get some walls in, maybe some white walls or something, so the light will reflect even more, and it should be extraordinarily vivid. But I've got 3 of these 72-inch fans in the ceiling as well, so on a warmer day, if I want to keep the doors open, I can turn these fans on and have a nice circulation of air going on in here. In keeping with the old school service station vibe, I had these neat gooseneck lights installed above the bay doors. They are very, very pretty, especially at night. The side entry door also has a gooseneck light. It's just a bit smaller. Of course, everything has LED bulbs. They're a little bit more of a warmer, softer light versus the inside lights, which offer a really cool contrast at night. Well, everyone, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Thank you all so much for your support and for following the journey with the new shop so far. I can't wait to start getting in here and filming some project content. Be sure to leave a like below. It really helps the video a lot. And if you haven't subscribed already, consider doing so because there's always a lot more content where that came from. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.